Hey guys, we're back. We do take showers. This is proof. How's it going, guys? I wanted to jump on and chat a little bit about Pluto. I have some messages here. I was getting here a few things coming, and we had done the weekly reading. And yeah, it's gonna get really intense this week. We were on members talking some transits and doing some readings, and we took a little break, and it's gonna get wild here this week, I feel. But you take it as you will. Just ride the wave out, y'all. What is meant to be will be. But you know, there was just this message here coming through related to Pluto and Venus, Scorpio, and Libra. And, you know, this is going to be one heck of a ride. It's going to be a roller coaster, but here's the thing. The easy, so-called easy way out is to not resist what comes up. And so if there are things that are feeling very awkward, very uncomfortable, very strange, very unknown, very mysterious, very simple but like complicated, like whatever the fuck, in other words, is coming up, no matter what it makes you feel, no matter how so-called like unsettling it is as a feeling, try to not associate with it directly. Have it come up and observe it. Just observe it, because Pluto will regurgitate. Right now, there's no stopping Pluto. We're not stopping Pluto. I hate to say that like so clearly, but this is a message that Spirit wants out there. Like, there is no stopping the karma here of this week in particular, and what comes up here during this whole month, and the season of Scorpio is going to be fucking wild. The rest of this year is going to be wild. So it's really, really, I think, going to be more advantageous to just get like as honest as possible, as soon as possible with yourself. And maybe that means, hey, I don't know what's going on here. Maybe I'm trying to control the situation. Maybe I'm freaking out about what's coming up because I'm trying to understand it. Maybe sit back, try not to necessarily understand it with the logical mind, and, you know, let it unfold, right? You don't have anything to fear with these cycles if you're not, right, like, kind of, you know, doing things that are not in alignment. If you are doing things that are not in alignment. But yeah, like, do not be worried. And I feel like right now, I'm speaking for myself, there's a lot of weird vibes. Mercury retrograde right now. It's like, this might not even be like what you're feeling, guys. So how many of you are feeling like it's intense, or it's like there's stuff coming up that you're not really able to put your finger on? Like, truly, like, be honest, you guys. Like, how many of you are feeling something like this? You know, or is it just me? I'm getting these vibes though. I'm feeling guided to get on and chat about this. And usually it takes some time. Like, when I'm feeling the message, it'll take some time. You know, like maybe a week or so. That's how I saw it to be for the last Lightworker, Warning to Lightworker video. And so, yeah, try not to like, it's like, okay, so what? You're having like thoughts of like, you know, maybe you've been in a relationship for the longest time and you're like, you're having thoughts of like leaving the relationship, and part of you is like, no, I cannot think of it like that. Like, maybe you're not even like really logically thinking through that thought, but it's just coming up. It's like, just let the thought come up. I think it's worse when we're trying to understand it, and because we're not understanding it, then we like suppress it. That's, I think, the worst. Because let me just say it, like, I feel like by the end of this week, Pluto's gonna bring it up regardless. So yeah, I'm just getting that message. The more we're trying to figure it out and understand, like, trying to outsmart the cycle and like where it's gonna go and like all this and like yada yada, it's gonna get like weirder. I'm just hearing that. So yeah, don't fight the Pluto. Don't fight the Pluto, and, you know, let it come up. You know, sometimes it's like, think about it as like a surfer, right? If you're a surfer, like, it's harder to try and catch every wave and like outdo the wave. It's like sometimes we have to surrender and literally just like let the wave take us. Like, well, this is not like general advice, right? I mean, like listen to the lifeguard, you guys, if you're actually surfing. Like, this is, yeah, I just have to put this disclaimer, but we're talking like existentially, right? And just in general, like I'm not a surfer by any means, you guys, like not yet. So I am not familiar really, but like the times I've been in the ocean, right? And they do say like you need to know when to duck and move under the wave and when to like ride it. So this is one of those times where it's like just be open to the cycle. Sometimes, hey, maybe I need to just like gonna let go, and it's weird, but it's gonna be all right. Like there's just, I feel like this is personally like partly I feel like we got into a really 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 grounding cycle and we got used to that, and it was like, wow, this is great. And then it's like it was like a little, you know, taste tester appetizer, and now it's like in retrospect in relative to that, you know, there is so much coming up from the past, and now it's like, but that doesn't make it bad. It just means that there's another layer, and that's the beauty of astrology, is that it's always changing. So yeah, like it feels like unfamiliar. That's, yeah, Jessica, that's how I would describe it. Unfamiliar. It's like, it's not necessarily bad. It's like I can't put my finger on it. It's just like a little like unknown and like strange. But I think, again, that's when we're trying to compare it to like what has been, or like, you know, when we're in that I don't want things to change mode. That's when it gets weird. Like, you know, trying to just like keep it up, like, but it's not realistic. Sometimes stuff has to change. Like, you know, it's not that it's changing, it's just we're seeing different sides of the cycle. Like, we're just perceiving it from different angles. So, you know, if we're fighting some aspect of the cycle, we should ask ourselves, I think, what is it that we think we're holding on to, that we're thinking is changing or not changing? Because that's the illusion right there. Everything is constant, it's just our perspective. So why is it that we're freaking out when, you know, there was another storyline? It's like we got really good at riding the bike with 3 wheels on it. Is that right? Yeah, 3, right, training wheels. Well, let's say 4. I don't know why you would have 1 training wheel on, but okay. All right, let's just make it simple. So, and then it's like, and then they take away the training wheels. It's like, doesn't mean that you're not riding the bike, right? It's just, there's a different factor. So that's kind of like the retro vibes. That's why some people loathe retros. Like, for example, let's say you're riding the bike, right? That's like pre-retro. You get real good at it. Maybe at a certain point it was really freaky to ride with training wheels as well. So it's all relative. It's like, but that's the point where you feel like, I felt really comfortable with where we were going. And now it's like they took the training wheels away. And now it's like freaky, but it's just another added factor. It's like the Mercury retrograde that brings up energies from the past, right? If anything, it's been there all along. It's just we're looking at it now in a different way, right? So nothing's really changing. I think that we get kind of fumbly with the retros when we start thinking about everything also in terms of time and space, and we feel like we've been in a certain period of time manifesting very specific certain things within a certain period of time, you know, which is such an illusion. It's like we've just gotten really, let's say, more grounded in a certain perspective. Doesn't make it wrong, doesn't make it bad necessarily. It's just we got, let's say, in a rhythm. So you guys see, one second, real quick. To respond to this. Sorry, give me a second. This Mercury-Pluto square is just like on another it's just on a completely different wavelength right now. So, I'm just like trying not to get irritated at certain things. How about you guys? Have you been feeling this way? Like, but I realize that this is not realistic. This is just literally perspective. So it's not like, you know what I'm saying? If anything, it's a good sign. It's like, oh, good to know that I have this weak link right here. You know, if I'm struggling or there's certain things that are coming up, you know, I'm just shifting gears. Hence how we feel usually more grounded at the end of a retrograde cycle. Yeah. It's just been weird vibes. Charlotte says horrible energies. Oh, man. Well, you know, I'm just feeling... Let's clear the energy and ground. I feel like we have a lot here that's just... Like, we gotta move through this, guys. Like, this is inevitable. Like... But it is weird. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't want to lie, you know, and say, oh, yeah, like... He. Like, it's Libra season, and you know, it's not just Libra season. Every day is different. It's like, if we were to look at the chart right now, it's not just Libra season. We got a lot of other things going on. And everything is relevant, and this is a hard cycle. Let me pull up the chart. I feel like we're scrambling. Feel free to share in the chat. I feel like I feel like I am like scrambling because if you really look at it astrologically, we have one planet. It's like lopsided. Hold on, I gotta just show it to you. Let's clear the energy and ground. Love and light. And it's not to say like certain archetypes are better than others. No. It's just the dance. It feels a little clunky right now. Like, as an audience member, in terms of the weather patterns of the universe right now, it's like something is strange. Why do we have one planet in Scorpio and getting extremely strong at that? You know what I'm saying? And all these other transits. Let's clear it. Let's see our transit chart. Look at this. And then Mercury retro is just like, it's clearing around. Whew. Exhausting, guys. It's exhausting. It's like exhausting. It's not frustrating enough that like you'd conk out and go to bed. But then it's also like you can't really do anything while being awake kind of vibe. It's one of those moments. It's like a hot flash vibe. And this came through last night. This came through last night. Why is it showing my birth chart? Can we not do that? And I don't know what it is, but like, I just get, it's amazing when people like don't pay mind to the planets and like they don't believe in astrology. It's like, what are you doing then if you're not aware of what's going on? How do you, I don't understand. Let's clear it around. But then they end up complaining about stuff like, damn, my car broke down, and damn. It's like, well. Do you guys deal with this? Dealing with people who, like, I don't believe in Mercury retrograde, and, like, I don't believe in, like, what's this and what's that, and, like, I don't know. It's just funny, because then, yeah. Okay, anyways. Let's not get into the drama now. What is the chart? Why does it show my birth chart? Come on, y'all. We just pull up the ephemeris or what? Here we go. This is the current birth chart. And this is Mercury retrograde. Okay, no, but like really wise, like look at those. Yeah. We got 3 planets right here. It's like a building stellium. Yeah, sure, we can say, well, we've got this going on, and we've got, you know, and these, but you guys, this is the sun, the main luminary source. This is Mars, another fire-based planet, and then we've got here Mercury. These are all 3 relatively very fast-moving personal planets. They're all in the same sign, and they're getting stronger, and they're getting closer. Let's clear it around. We talked about this in the weekly members here today, when we did the astrology talk. The sun and Mars. This is basically a conjunction, guys. Like, can you guys hear me when it's muffled like this on the bed sheets? Can you guys hear me, or is it hard to hear me? I feel like I'm gonna just fall asleep right now. Oh, great. Okay, great, Lauren. What's your name, Lauren? Lauren, yeah. So, you know, maybe this is what we're feeling here. Sun conjunct Mars. Yeah, Libra. So awkward. You know why? I see what we're doing here now. Yep, I see it. Mars, co-ruler of Scorpio in Libra. Not the most comfortable, cozy place for Mars, we'll be quite honest, okay? Mars wants to just go for it. They want to be direct, right? Mars, think Martian energies, Aries, warrior energies, first house, assertion, leadership. Libra is about, wait, let's split it down the middle. What does Marcus want? And then what about Margaret? Okay, let's go back and forth to talk about it. That's not really the home body energy of Aries. Let's just be quite honest here. This is part of this frustrating energy, love and light, but the sun here as well. Okay, conjunct Mars is just making everything more intense right there with that. And here's the other thing. Venus and love and light. I don't want to get frustrated here with this, but I'm just gotta say it the way I feel it. And obviously this is a channeled message, so if you're feeling frustrated, okay, then, you know, this might be why. But, Mars and the sun, you know, it's like, this is a great, Libra's wonderful energy, but for a particular placement, right? In the sense of saying that it's not really exalted here. It's not very comfortable naturally. It doesn't mean that it's bad. Okay, thank you, Eric's, for your donation. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. And so it's like, this is about obviously ascension and about transforming, you know, and re-perceiving, but it is just to say that this is not a natural placement for Mars. So add to that the fact that, yeah, so this is just like a little uncomfortable, and then Venus is in Scorpio, the ruler of Libra. You guys see the inversion there? And we were talking about that the other day. So it's like, all right. It's like, yeah, a lot of pressure. I feel it as pressure. It's like, how awkward can it get? Let's test it out. Mars conjunct the sun. Let's get closer. Oh, it's awkward? Well, we're gonna make it more awkward. Let's get even closer. Like, so yeah. Very exciting energies as well, obviously. The more challenging placements in the birth chart, right? They say the more successful, you're right, because you have these squares and whatnot. We can kind of see this as well as it's interesting because Aries and Libra are opposite signs, actually. So it's kind of like the first house and the 7th house in the birth chart with the Mars and Libra. But anyways, getting back to it, what else? Yeah, I don't know. Venus and Scorpio at 24 right now is just funny right now. It's just getting funny, and, you know, I just wonder what this week is gonna get interesting, so. Yep, Truth Heart. Great point. So definitely during these times, try not to judge yourself, really, and it's interesting because Mercury, right, because we had that exact square, the Mercury's at 24, and what is it, actually Venus as well is at 24. Interesting. So, Libra can get kind of self-critical, but it's for a reason, everything that's coming up right here, like, if, let's say, we're starting to feel a little weird or uncomfortable at something, it's not random, this is maybe a thought we've had, but we just kind of, like, suppressed it, we didn't really think about it directly, like, oh, am I self-conscious about that? That's where this is a helpful transit, ultimately. Like, Pluto's trying to be helpful, ultimately. It's bringing stuff up in the subconscious. How many of you having weird dreams or things that are just kind of like, what is this? You guys like Sag season? What's your favorite season, you guys? Interesting. Interesting, Heather. Kenya's like, I don't care what the season is. Summer. I don't care about the sign. Just make it summer. Make it summer already. Oh, man. Love and light. I know, I'm like gripping summer, like, I don't want summer to end. Summer already ended, but yeah, you know what I mean. Let's clear it and ground. But yeah, what I'm getting as well is, sometimes how it's like you're used to something and then something changes. Like, well, I'll make an example. Let's say that you work at like a company and then let's say you thought it was like really moving well for you and you were getting into a rhythm. Let's say, and then let's say the company like closes down and you have to leave the company. In the beginning, maybe it's gonna be like, hey, like, that's a bad thing. Like, we may interpret it immediately as like, hey, because it's a change, it's a shift. But, I mean, I believe in divine, right? Obviously, timing and destiny, like, what's meant to be will be. So it's like, if we just go with the flow, like, who knows? Maybe we'll be happier about the next steps and stages that we take in our life in relation to this change. So maybe you end up finding something that's even better, you know? So, in other words, what's coming up right now, maybe try not to see it as something so specifically like as it seems. Like, if something changes, try not to see it literally. You know what I'm saying? Try to definitely, like, meditate, interpret it by way of feeling through it, but yourself through it, and remember that you'll always move through it. Whatever does come up here this week, remember that there's always a reason for everything, and if something does come up, it doesn't define you. So trying, to keep innovative, you know, keep on your toes. Sometimes it's a good thing. It's a challenge. It's like, oh, was I getting a little too comfortable back there? You know, when things change, it stimulates us. It prompts us to think more innovatively as well. So it's a blessing in disguise sometimes when we have these challenges come up. And you know, maybe we needed to change something here. Maybe we needed to readdress a certain area of our life and see it differently. Let's clear it around. I think this is also about being vulnerable with ourselves, especially like Pluto, you know? So the things that you're uncomfortable with, that might be where you have shadow Pluto energy right now. And at the end of the day, it's a good thing to shine light on that. Like, I want to know, hey, where am I sort of like not tapping into my ultimate potential ultimately, right? Because the opposite of Pluto, shadow, is empowerment, is power. So it's the illusion that we don't want to really ultimately get down to our so-called weakest links. So if that is helpful, take it as you will. Let's clear it. It could also be another lesson of Pluto Scorpio energies this week. Try not to judge yourself, like, in the sense of saying, let's say you were really getting into a good groove with something, and then all of a sudden something changes or something comes up, you know? That doesn't define you. Like, the changing circumstances, that's where we have to keep, you know, is keeping so-called stagnant and sustaining, is sustenance like the most favorable way to handle a situation? Not necessarily always, right? Like, where do we get too used to things, too comfortable with things, too dependent on a certain way? So we have to keep dynamic. Let's clear it around. Is this helpful? Sometimes I can't tell if I'm like channeling way ahead of time or if it's like something that I'm feeling, you know? Sometimes this is a thing, but I've noticed that when I feel guided to talk about something, there's obviously a reason. So yeah, try to sort of transcend through what comes up. Yes, and try not to see it as like, oh, things were like that and now it's like this. That's not necessarily the case. Nothing is nothing. It's always you at the end of the day, and you carry yourself through every circumstance, through every situation. So that's great. Yeah, but you know, yeah, it can get a little bit like, because there's so much Libra, there is this feeling maybe of like, well, I realize we may get into self-defeating mode, like getting hard on ourselves, but it's not the reality of the situation. That's where I feel like truly when we get on the other side of this wave with the Scorpio energies, we're not gonna feel the frustrating side of this. It's gonna do the flip, and then we're gonna be like, that's it. You know those moments where it's like someone hurts your feelings and first you're sort of crying, and then after that you're like, fuck the hell, what the hell, why am I crying? I'm gonna resurrect, like this doesn't define me, you know? Something like that possibly. So let's clear the energy around. Once it gets to Scorpio season, yeah, I feel like we're gonna invert where it is we felt frustrated with Libra season or with these energies here right now. So right, and you can always remanifest. That's what we have to remember as well. We have to keep fluid, because again, with so much Libra, this is air energy. We can get really stuck in the head where we're like, oh, but like things were like that in the past. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. If anything, it's good if we're realizing that we're so dependent on the way we saw it in the past, because nothing is anything. It's the way always that we see it. So are we continuing to only see it in a very particular way? Did we think like, oh my god, this is the end and I have to just kind of sustain it in that sense? You know, that might be like, if you're feeling anxious, that might be why, because you're almost like trying to sustain a certain perspective or vision. It's like, that's not realistic necessarily. We have to keep the energy sort of, you know, bumping along. And so that's the flip side of the retros. That's the flip side of the challenging transits is, you know, wherever you're feeling frustrated, like, what is the upside of this? In the sense of saying, where is it that you're able to explore your shadow more deeply, right? By observing where it is you're getting frustrated and why. Like, why is it that you would get frustrated with a certain cycle is the helpful point. So, you know, maybe spend some time journaling and reflecting and being really just kind of like transparent with yourself with what you're feeling at this time, because that could be a clue for you as to what might be helpful to sort of reconnect to, even as a concept. Maybe it's something that you just, you know, and especially at the new moon in Libra. So, which is a very, very sort of spiritual point in the moon cycle, right? The new moon. So it's almost like we're getting really sort of, we might be really deeply re-examining certain, reconnecting with certain concepts in relation to the archetype of Libra. So you guys, love and light to you. Enjoy this period. Try to stay grounded. And bringing it back into members for the weeklies. And we will, I know we still have some other videos to post. Aquarius, for whatever reason, it's delayed. It reset. So people were saying that people on YouTube are having this issue. So Mercury retrograde, whatever's meant to be, will be. Love and light to you guys. We'll see you in the next video.